Well, school's out for summer, and we're back at Cal Lutheran to recap the offseason program with Sean McVay, DeMarco Farr, and JB Long. Looking forward to seeing you at training camp later this summer. But first, Sean, let's go through the months that were here, and how'd you send the group off into their 5-week vacation?
Well, it's a special week, too. It's a birthday for old DeMarco.
Yes, sir. Right? It was my birthday. I don't remember a single thing. Whiskey.
Are you a big birthday guy?
I am kind of a birthday dude.
Yeah, you would be.
Thank you. The most important thing you collect is birthdays. See?
Aha! It's almost as good as your lettuce, you know?
That's
Are
right.
you a birthday guy, JB?
I am not.
Me either. But you know what?
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Happy belated
Thank
birthday.
you. Thank you very much.
Glad to be doing this
Thank
with
you. Absolutely.
It's been a great offseason. It really has. I think we've taken steps in the right direction. There's obviously a lot of work to be done. But I love the intentionality that these guys came in with. You know, the goal is always to improve. You know, let's establish foundations culturally, mentally, physically. We were able to do that. Now we've got a little bit of a break. We can't afford to, just start over when we come back to camp on July 23rd. So it's going to be really important for guys to get away. They've earned a little bit of a breather, but to understand what is their rhythm and routine to allow them to pick up where they left off. But I love this team. There's a great amount of youthful energy. There's some great veteran presence, guys that care about one another. I'm really excited being around the new coaching, the coaching additions that we've had as well. It's, I realize more and more, as you go into year 8, how important it is to be around people that inspire you to not want to let them down. And we've got that with our players, with our coaches, and it sure makes it a lot easier to feel like your glass is half full than to lose perspective like you guys know I've done in some previous years that I don't ever want to do again.
Only once, that one time maybe, and that's debatable. But yeah. I keep saying this, where were you in the 90s? Because you seem to get it, and if you give guys time off, that means they must have been busting their ass. But even back then, when they busted your ass, you still had to come out and practice.
It's not like Coach Vermeil.
No, not at all. Not at all. He's blowing up my phone right now. But that must be cool when they give you what you need, you give them what they want.
Yeah, I think when you've got the right kinds of people that are intrinsically motivated, that they appreciate that the work works with this growth mindset that we talk about all the time. Hey, we're gonna work hard, but we're gonna work smart. And I think Reggie Scott and his group do a phenomenal job of educating myself, the rest of our coaches, on how do we optimize performance while still making sure that, hey, you do need to develop a callus to play this game that and be prepared when the season starts. And then there's natural restrictions, but how do you push the envelope in a smart, safe way and set those foundations like we talked about? And it is always about the people. It always has been, always will be. And when you've got the right kinds of people, they know how to go about it the right way, and you can give them some ownership and autonomy, and our guys have earned that.
You're saying you didn't have many mini camps with only an hour on the grass?
Not one. This is the first ever right here. Yeah, unbelievable.
Can you name drop on us a little bit?
Men were men.
Right.
Can you name drop on us a little bit? Maybe start with like a rookie recap. Who's made a good positive first impression?
I've been really pleased with the draft class as a whole. I think when you look at it, Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, those first two guys, they have really made a tremendous impact. You feel them. They're conscientious. They love football. They're coachable. They've got the instincts. They've got the work ethic. I've really been impressed with those guys. I think Joe Caniglio and Gift Smith have done a great job of really helping those guys accelerate their progress. There still are so many things you can evaluate when you don't have the pads on. I also think Brennan and Tyler Davis have really done a good job. So those 4 guys across the front, I've been really pleased with them. When you look at what Cam Kitchens has done at safety, he's really getting comfortable with what we're asking of him. He understands kind of the intent of some of these different calls, where he fits based on the coverages and the different match principles. And then on the offensive side, I've been pleased with a lot of guys, but Blake Corum's really stood out. Mature beyond his years. I love the way that he handles himself. I love even more how when there's been a couple things that didn't go the way we wanted, how he responded the next play. The mental toughness that you see from him. Ron Gould's excellent with that room. Even Kyron in his own way has done such a great job of imparting a certain amount of wisdom with them. Those guys have really stood out. Jordan Whittington's made good progress. I think, Bo Limmer has done a really good job of playing guard, playing the center position, but I've been pleased with this group as a whole. They're mature beyond their years. They're what we had hoped, through this point, and there's still a lot to be evaluated.
Not a whole lot of question marks on that side of the ball. I mean, in terms of personnel, you can look and say, okay, I see that. I see the receivers. I see the competition at running back. I guess the only spot would be tight end, where it's like, well, these guys might be new. Yeah. Haven't seen a lot of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've been really pleased. Colby Parkinson was a little bit limited based on something he was working through with the bicep, but he should be good to go for training camp. But you feel his size, you feel his conscientiousness. Did some good things in the past game, but I thought Davis Allen took a tremendous step in the right direction. The game makes sense to him. I thought when Higbee ended up, needing to spell towards the latter part of the year, if he missed the game, Davis filled in and did a great job. He played big time in Baltimore, played big in Washington, made some big time plays in the Detroit game, and I always loved watching his tape at Clemson, where there's certain guys you can just see have a feel. It was awesome to see Hunter Long stay healthy. We got a small glimpse of it against Baltimore last year, and he really did a nice job, and Nick Caley's such a great leader for that room. You miss Tyler Higbee out here, but he is still affecting and influencing those guys in the right way, in the way that he can, from an outside perspective, or from, the training room or in the meeting room. But I think that's a group of 3 guys right now that you feel really good about where they're at, and I'm looking forward to seeing, again, when the pads come on, that's when the real football takes place, even though we're not tackling in practice. But there still is a lot of limitations and restrictions that allow you to be able to truly get evaluations on the line of scrimmage and some of those guys at the tight end position especially.
What matchup specifically would you like to see at LMU with pads on? Are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to just seeing us positively push one another. I don't know if there's any sort of one-on-one matchups, but we try to be able to go as much, ones-on-ones, or getting our guys, in those Mamba periods to honor Kobe, where, hey, it's that competitiveness that's really ramped up, still in a smart way. But I'm looking forward to seeing, some different things that we've even tinkered with schematically that maybe we can't do in these types of settings. I'm looking to see us evolve on some of the things that we talked about defensively, situationally, and then we'll see what the hell's going on with this kickoff and kickoff return, man. I don't know. It's going to be wild.
I was just telling them, I can't think of any rules change that completely changed the game outside of tackles dropping back, going from this to this. Kick returns could be a thing week in and week out now.
It's I would say this, I obviously haven't been doing it too long, but you've been a fan of the game from afar. You've grown up in the game. I can't remember a time that there's been a more significant change in regards to how drastic it is from what the previous year entailed as what this is. And, what's the intent behind it? Get the foot back in the game. There wasn't a lot of, kickoff returns last year. You look in the Super Bowl, there wasn't one kickoff return. So it's get the foot back in the game, try to still maintain the health and safety parameters. And that's the goal, and that's the intent. And we'll see, and hopefully it accommodates that.
Tell you what I'm looking forward to, McVay against Shula on the grass on the
fun.
West side.
Oh, yeah. It'll be we'll dice him. No, he's done a great job. I couldn't be, obviously I've known Chris for so long. He's been such a positive influence on me, but I think what a lot of people don't know, he's almost got such a humility about himself that you don't realize, what a great coach he is, because there's this refreshing security that he has about himself. But you watch the command he has in front of the room. You watch the clarity, the understanding of what all 11 are supposed to do. He's coached on all 3 levels of the defense, has a clear-cut vision for what he wants it to look like, but watching the collaboration with he and his other assistant coaches has been really special as it's kind of organically progressed throughout the offseason, I should say. And it's been awesome. I'm not surprised, but I think if you ask the players, they'd all be glowing in their remarks, and I know the coaches feel that way, and certainly I've not surprised, but I've loved what he's done up to this point.
No doubt. If my last name was Shula, I would lead with that.
I told him that. Like, he's never. They say, "Hey, are you related?" And people forget his dad was the head coach of the Bengals when he was 32 years old.
I'd put it on the front
Dave's
of my jersey.
been giving me advice, and I'll tell you. What was cool, DeMarco, is so Dave was a great coach. His dad, and then obviously Don, his grandfather, Mike's his uncle, comes from a football family. And one of the things he told me, because I've always really been interested in talking to Coach Shula, his dad Dave Shula, about football, his experiences, and this goes back to when we'd go there on spring break and stay at his house in Fort Lauderdale. And so he said, watching, Chris and I work together, he said, I was cognizant of not necessarily hiring my friends, even if I thought they were good coaches, just because of the optics of it. And he said, watching how you guys have done it, I would absolutely do that if I had a chance to do it over. It was a cool thing because there's a trust, but hey, it's my friend, but also, we're not doing favors. This is a really good coach that can connect, can communicate, can solve problems, can build relationships with guys. And as you guys continue to get to know him better, like everybody that's around him, you'll love him.
I'm going to miss this place. A lot of good memories here.
There was a lot of good memories. I'm not going to miss the win, though.
I know.
The win?
The win. This isn't bad, but later on in the season,
right.
These kickers, it's a mental warfare.
There was like a stripped-down simplicity to this place, though. It was about ball and not much more.
I love that. That to me is really important. There's natural collision hours. I think it keeps a toughness, a grittiness. There's a lot of things that you don't need much, man. Get a good field, no wind, good film, enough space.
But you guys never complained. You never used this as an excuse. Like you went to 2 Super Bowls out of trailers. That never seemed like a competitive disadvantage.
It didn't, and that's because of the way that people handled it. And so I'm really, we're excited about, we love this place. I love the privacy too. I mean, there's an intimate setting right here. You feel like you're kind of away. You can lock in and focus and concentrate, but it's been a special 8 years, but temporary facility. It sounds like it was a lot longer than a temporary facility.
When you say
you guys were even here a year before me. I mean, this was 8 whole years you guys were here.
Part traveling band, part football franchise.
No doubt.
The Los Angeles Rams.
You said it's the way people handle it, meaning the way you handle it. Have you walked this trail before? Have you walked around this place?
I remember. We used to, when we first got here, we used to race from that trail to see how fast we could go. There was a couple times my heart was beating and burning.
You and your coaches?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, running up the hill.
I was the champ.
You were the champ. Who's going to let the coach win? Who's not going to let the coach win?
There was no sympathy wins.
I like it.
Now we know why there's so much turnover around here, right? They get run out of the building.
That's right. You can't beat me. You're gone.
I like it.
I've got 88 days until Detroit. You have another set of days on your mind?
I do. At 41 is when we report back to camp. We got 41 days. That's the focus and concentration, and then camp. There is a lot of time, but there's a lot to be accomplished. That'll be fun. It'll be here before we know it. They'll be booing my ass, and I'll love every second.
Who's booing you? Nobody's booing you. Come on.
Detroit.
Detroit will boo you. No,
When we got there, my dad's on the field. It was unbelievable how many people were in the stands before. Usually you come out an hour before, and it's kind of just filtering in. So my dad got a big kick out of it. He was already on the field on the other side. He said, I heard the fans just booing out of somebody. And then I see you. He said, oh, that's great, man. These are some loyal fans here. And so it was cool.
That's awesome.
Before the boos rain down, wishing you a summer of rest and recovery for you and your loved ones. You too, DeMarco.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait to see you on the
Appreciate
west side
you.
at LMU for training camp at the beginning of year 8.
How about that?
Oh, my God.
8 years.
Wow.
You know what's cool is being around this group, and especially even last year, it feels like it's year 1 again. And I really mean that. And
I've been watching you out here.
You're going to have to kick me out of here
Yeah,
now.
I've been watching you
I thought
out
last
here.
year was a new year 1. You're saying this year is?
Yeah. I feel like these last couple years, there's really just been a real renewed purpose and perspective that reminds you of what a blessing this is. And like I've told you guys, you kind of had lost that a little bit of, in the midst of the journey and especially in things going well, and then obviously the challenging year in 22. But there's a lot of cool things that have gone on with the people that I'm around, the coaches. But having that little guy too is a real easy reason to keep appropriate perspective and to make sure that you're being the man and modeling what it looks like for him every single day.
Somebody learned how to putt. Look out.
Here's to many more year 1s.
That's
For Sean McVay, DeMarco Farm, JB Long, wishing you a safe and enjoyable summer as well. We'll see you at LMU in about 6 weeks.